Where I live out here in Michigan is just a hop skip away from Flint. It's a city over. I'm riding through Flint, Michigan, where they had the major water crisis. I'm sure y'all have heard about it. All the pipes are just corroded and overflowing with lead. So this is probably one of the worst streets. And the thing about Flint, unlike many other places, and you can probably see it already, is trash. Trash just litters the streets. Corners are everywhere and all over the place. Like, there's no respect for nature or the land. Just throw your garbage out the window everywhere. So they need like an initiative, a non-profit, to get all this trash cleaned up in the city. If you guys clean up your trash, just filter your water, it'd be great. Water crisis, the lead poisoning really didn't do help for people's IQ. Dumbed them down, probably made them more complacent, less caring, sicker. That's contributing to the trash, people's apathy. And yeah, it was all bad. You just can't drink. All these houses are all likely hooked up to city tap. Not good. Now the garden. Acorn squash, butternut squash, seedless watermelons, and then there are onions. It's hard to see them, but you can see them start right there. And then next to that is tomatoes, and then kale, and then more tomatoes, and then 4 rows of potatoes behind these weeds. I gotta trim out here. And then there's garlic down there, 3 rows of garlic. Back there, you see my tarps. That's getting ready to grow leafy stuff for the fall season for animal feed mainly. Next to that is peppers. And then next to that, potatoes, and then onion sets, and corn, and then wheat, and then corn, and then beets and potatoes. And then back there is more wheat, corn, potatoes, and then it goes into the cannabis and squash, blue Hubbard squash. The third expansion in the back there is all squash. It's butternuts and blue Hubbards. And then in the rabbit run, where I've expanded it 3 times, I'm gonna go ahead and likely add another expansion forward in front of the animal yard, a rectangular section for the rabbits to go out even further, get that for grazing area. The animals will go down the front of the animal yard, continue with the garden down the front of the garden as I expand down the hill. These are mulleins that are medicinal, very ancient. I'm making teas with other things like mint, pine needles, and then I'll look closely, we'll run around the tarps. It's keeping things, well, keeping things down, keeping weeds from growing. And then there's the squash here at this third expansion. All these squash, tomatoes growing even. Some other things I forgot to mention, like the beans. And then there are olive down here, which is the blue Hubbard squash and the cannabis. So I got to get in here and I got to prune away leaves that grow and try to tangle in between and block out the light of. That is getting trimmed up now. I'm about to go in there, and then that'll open up for more light to get at the plants, and they're gonna coexist. And there it is, trimmed up a little bit. Threw a bunch of the leaves already to the chickens into that yard for the goats. I'm gonna throw a bunch for the rabbits as well. Looks pretty neat, looks pretty full and grown. The rain from Barrel did a really good thing. Not noticing any disease brought in, no problems at all. And the rain we're getting these days is a lot. It's like every other day now we're just getting a lot of rain. I haven't really had to water but twice this year. Feeding as treats. Everybody over there picks it apart, and threw them some already. Had to look it up to make sure it was safe for the rabbits, to be sure. And it is in small amounts as treat, like anything else, in moderation, with things they don't get all the time, with their main feed, which is hay and grass and burdock. Farmer that I get my corn from, I'm getting wheat from him now too. He's going to have oats and black beans, Few other things, the wheat is a big one to go with the corn, and I grind both those up to make my animal feed. Now the goats are not supposed to get at chicken feed. There's stuff in there that is harmful for them, can cause bloat and even kill them. So making my own chicken feed, I can keep all the animals in the yard together, and the goats will eat at the grains of just the corn and the wheat, and that's fine for them in moderation, not all the time, but as a treat. So when I feed the chickens and the ducks twice a day, the goats get to eat at the trays of feed for a half hour, and then it's gone. It's all picked through. So it works really well to be able to have all the animals together. And I'm picking these bags up for 20 bucks for a 50-pound bag of wheat berries, and then it's 15 bucks for a 50-pound bag of corn. And I combine the two at like a 50-50 ratio, add some water to hydrate it, makes it really nice and chunky, and I feed that to all my animals. It's mainly chicken and duck feed, but like I say, it's a treat for the goats. Now the rabbits get wheat berries. The rabbits will not get corn. Corn is not good for the rabbits, but wheat berries, they love that. So they're getting that as a treat. So I'm stocking up on these bags, just tons of them, as well as hay bales for the entire winter.